health and fitness has been a growing trend, particularly in the past few years. This video is about a templatized 10-step process that follows the 10-step process by Dr. Andy Galpin. And these templates are in Coda and in Notion. They are available in the description of this video. And by the end of this video, you will understand how to use these templates to design your own training programs that involve resistance training using your body weight or weight-based exercises, as well as cardio exercises to optimize your overall fitness and well-being in the daily life and for the years to come to extend your health span. Here is the 10-step approach to designing a training program Coda doc. And the first page is start here. And that's where you will find the sources where this doc is inspired from, as well as my full written article of this process, as well as overall pillars of health, fitness, both physical and mental. In here, there are a few items that I can go through as a new user here. I can watch the video below, which is gonna be here and that you're currently watching. And I can start using the system by setting goals here. Here are the 10 steps summarized in a few words, and you can read them through to understand better what to do in this system. The second step that you might explore if you want is the dashboard. And the dashboard is where, after you've created all the goals and the program, you will see that information dynamically displayed in here. So on a daily basis, when looking at what exercises you do, what session you work on, or you want to remind yourself what's your current health goal that you're pursuing, that's where you can go and see the current goal, today's training session, the current program, and this week's sessions. Right now it is empty, and the first time that you go through it, you will populate these sections accordingly, starting from the training goal setting. So the first time you come here, here are some example goals that I placed in here, but you can also create a new goal from here or from the new button here. Now I already created one, so let's take this one as an example. Reduce body fat percentage by 5%. That's a quite measurable goal here and specific. So there is a small checklist that I went through when creating this goal. I made it specific. It is specific because it is very targeted at body fat percentage by 5%. It is measurable because I can take the measure of body fat using a dedicated caliber or a more advanced method, such as a DEXA scan, for example. It is achievable. That will depend, of course, but let's take this example. It is achievable because I am already in shape. I know what to do to get 5% down in body fat. It is relevant for whatever reason for the person, and time-bound. Time-bound because there is a specific start date and an end date that I set in here. So the start date will be June 20th. The duration by default is 12 weeks, but I can also change this one if I want to make it longer or shorter. And there is the end date that is automatically calculated based on start date plus weeks. Days of pursuit is the days of the week when I will take action in the pursuit of this goal. So in this example, because that's a health and fitness goal, to reduce body fat percentage by 5%, I may need to define better the nutrition plan and introduce specific foods and a calorie restriction into my daily diet. And in addition to that, I will need to train both cardio and strength training to achieve that goal. So I will pursue this intentionally from Monday to Saturday, for example. And then these other data points are calculated automatically. Days per week, that is 6 days per week of pursuit. That is 72 total days of commitment towards this goal for 1.5 hours per day. That is manually added, whereas these ones here are automatically calculated. And the status of the goal is the current pursuit. So this is active. Tracking knows how you track this goal. That is measure body fat with caliper at the beginning and at the end of the goal period. And what are some major blockages or defenders? That's a big point in the 10-step checklist. What are the obstacles that can get in the way of actually reaching this goal? It might be psychological obstacles. It might be practical obstacles in the life and in the way your life is structured right now that prevents you, practically speaking, from achieving this goal. It might be the environment that you're surrounded with and the people around you and the overall influence that their words and thoughts and past experiences have on you. So you might identify those and lay them out exactly here. If you want more space, you can also use the notes section. You can also open this in full screen here if you prefer to have more space in the setup process. Once the goal is set, and you can also set multiple ones, the key thing is that based on the 10-step approach by Andy Galpin and goal setting science, pursuing more than 1 or 2 goals at one time might be too much, and you might end up not achieving any of them. So that is why having one current pursuit at a time might be best, 2 at most. But then you can do, of course, whatever you like. There is no hard coded limit in the system for you to set multiple goals if you like. Once this is done, you can go to the training frequency setting page and you will answer this question, that is, how many days per week can you realistically commit to training? So in here there is a slider that goes up to 14, that is 2 sessions per day, 7 days a week. So in here you can define how many days per week. Let's say 4 for this example. And here are some formulas that calculate how many sessions that is per month. That is 16 sessions per month, which amounts to about 192 sessions per year. There isn't much significance in this, besides just having an overview of a data point. If there is a sample data in this template that I will likely add just to give a guidance to first-time users, you can delete all the existing data if you like here using this button. Otherwise, you can also delete this button directly by hitting delete. And also optionally, you can add sessions for the first week. So I'm gonna click this button here, create a few sessions. Now I created my sessions and I can organize them in the table below. That's only for the first week, so there are 4 sessions here. I can rename them as needed according to the training split. So let's say I know that I'm gonna train a full body program, which I'm gonna set up in particular later. So I can rename them. For now, I'm gonna leave the name as it is. I can then edit the training program name if needed. I know the program is here. If I wanna edit the name, maybe I can open this page right there and I can call it full body program 1. So that's, let's say, my first program here. And I can edit each session date. So I know that, let's say I would start this program on the 24th of June. The second session would be 25th. Then it would be a day off. So the third session would be on the 27th and the fourth session on the 28th. I can also set the time of each session here. For now, by default, it is 12 a.m. But if I want to change it, I can do so from this slider or just by selecting here and deleting text and adding text in numbers. Let's see, I'm going to do 8 a.m. here. So I edited each session date, and the next step is to open the training program creation page and finalize the program creation. Before that, you can also see here, these sessions are organized in the calendar. So if I want to switch date easily, I can also drag and drop them just like that. So let's open the training program creation here. And now it is time to create the actual program. That is, within the program, there are sessions. Within sessions, there are exercises. So at this stage, we are going to select exercises within each session. Here there is a button to generate a draft plan with Coda AI. So here there is a specific prompt to generate a training program following the split for the program that is defined here as a variable, and for the duration needed. So if you like just to have a first draft of possible exercises that you want to do, you can click this button here, and this will be generated in the form of text. So you will need then to refine it and organize it properly in the format of tables. But it could be an inspiration as a way to start. And you can also refine the prompt properly to output more specific, more broad tips or output data. Let's say I do not want to use AI for now, and I'm gonna open each training session and select exercises and also assign them sets, reps and rest intervals. And then I can duplicate sessions for all the weeks of the program. So in here there are training programs. I see I have full body program 1. So maybe let's open this page here to set the specific date of start, let's say 24th, and the end date would be around the 1st of September. That's a full body program. Here I can add notes about the program, and then here I will see all the sessions within that program. I will also see the sessions down here in the dedicated table, training sessions. That's where I can expand it. I can see full body program 1, that is session 1, 2, 3, 4, that is week 1. I will set up week 1 and then just duplicate each session for all the following weeks of the program. So let's open session 1. Here the date is 24th, and in here I can select the exercises. Let's open full screen, and I know, for example, that here I want to have a squat movement, I want to have a horizontal push, maybe a vertical pull, vertical push, one isolation lower body, and I could have one corrective and maybe some zone 2 cardio, that is steady state cardio. So I know that these are the movement patterns that I want. So let's create all the exercises for this. I'm going to add new. In here, I'm going to type squat to see all the available exercises that have that word in their name. And let's say I want to do a barbell back squat here. And this is going to be 3 sets, 5 reps with 2 minutes rest. Here I can see the primary target, that is quadriceps and glutes. and the execution video that is taken automatically from the exercise library that I'm going to show you later, that you can also edit freely. Then I'm going to have an horizontal push movement. So let's say for this example, I want to do a bench press. So that's a barbell bench press. And here we'll do 6 reps, 2 minutes rest. And at the end of the session, I can track here how much weight or feelings that I had for that exercise. And there is a vertical pull. So let's say I want to do a pull up here, and I will do 4 sets to failure. You can see here, I typed a text value, although reps is a numeric column type. There is an error message. It's not a big deal because it doesn't break the system in any way. But if you want more flexibility and not to see these error messages, you can convert this column into a text column so that you have freedom to write whatever you like in it. And you get the point. I will then continue for all the movements that I have in mind for this session, adding each movement here, adding sets, reps, rest. And once this is done, I can go back to training sessions, go to the training session number 2, and I will do the same. So I will select the exercises that I want, assign sets, reps, and rest to them, and move on to session 3, and move on to session 4. In this example, 4 sessions per week. And once this is done, let's say I know that session 1 will repeat every first day of the week. So I will just click on duplicate here, and this will create a new session 1. Let's say session 1, week 2. And if I open it, you will see the date is automatically assigned to 1 week later. So that's all right. And all the content is copied over. So there is back squats, I got this, bench press, pull-ups, chin-ups, but I still can change it if I like here for different movements. Otherwise, I can leave things as they are, and then just over time, once I do the session, add the tracking here. Because the key thing is to see that progressive overload within those exercises over time. That is either lifting more weight, so that will be reflected in the tracking column, or it could be adding additional reps in here every week, depending on your fitness level, or it could be adding additional sets. So either manipulating volume over time or manipulating intensity over time. That is progressive overload. So that's why tracking these things can be very valuable, because then over time, you will see whether you are making progress or not. And if you are making progress, you will see the progress reflected in your goal pursuit, as long as nutrition is properly there. Then I can also duplicate session 2, 3, 4, and I can do so for as many weeks as I like. Once this is done, the program is ready, and the sessions will show up in your dashboard. So in here you will see today's training session, and here you will see the current program. So when you go back to the program creation page, this program is not started yet, but let's say this is actually current. So let's move it to in progress. Now this will show up on the dashboard, and let's say this session is today, so that you see what the dashboard looks like here. So when I go to the dashboard, I will see the current goal here, which I can open to quickly see at a glance what's going on and be reminded about it. And there is today's training session, which I can mark as done once it is done. Otherwise, I can open it here, also from mobile, to see all the exercises, sets, reps, and tracking over time. I can see the current program, and I can see this week's sessions organized in a weekly calendar by time. But I can also shift sessions along the calendar time. Once this session is done, I can mark the checkbox done, and that will make the name turn green. And that's all there is to it. Over time, you can repeat this process when it comes to creating a new program and adding sessions to it. Now, down below here on the program creation page, you will find 2 additional tables. One is a reference table. It is called reference exercises. So these tables are here to make the system work, but you do not necessarily need to interact with them on a regular basis. So the reference exercises is a table including all exercises, not all of them, many of them that I added myself. So these are the exercises. They have a primary target, that is what muscle groups do they target primarily. There is a type of exercise, if it is a compound exercise, isolation exercise, or a body weight exercise. And there is an execution instruction URL to videos that explain how to perform that exercise. So when you first use this system, if you want to add your own list of exercises, or you want to delete some of them, or change some of the information within those, you can do so freely by editing this table. And the exercise trackings table is the one that we use inside sessions to select exercises and track sets, reps, and track volume and intensity. So in here, when you open this table, you will see over time all the exercises that you have done in your sessions. And the same exercise will be performed multiple times. So this table allows you to also see the progression over time in your tracking of these movements. Here, whenever you see these chips at the top of any table in the system, you can use them to filter. In the Notion template version, you can find the start here instructions that are very detailed in terms of how you can use the system and how to integrate it step by step. In here, there are 3 toggles where when you first start, they will be particularly useful to set up the system the first time. And when over time you want to change your goal, for example, or add new sessions or a new program, then these pages become relevant. And on a daily basis, however, you can work especially on the main dashboard only, because here is where you will find your current goal with the status of current pursuit, today's training session, and you can also expand all sessions here, the current program that you're following, and this week's sessions. So these are simple views, very clean, where you can manage and track the status of all those things. But the first time that you set up the system, you can access the training goal page, and that's where you can set up your training goal. The layout is similar to the Coda doc. So here you will find the instructions and you can add a new goal here. Here are some example goals that I added. You can also visualize goals in different formats, such as in a board view by status and in a timeline where you can change the scope of view as well. When you add a new goal from the button, you have this confirmation menu. If you confirm, this will open the pop-up page where you can type your goal. You can set the status of the goal, the start date, the duration, days of pursuit, so where during the week you will pursue this goal. Here, how many hours per day, what's the major blockages or defenders. So this is the same concept as in the Coda doc. And you can type here the possible blockages, any notes, tracking notes, so how you will determine the performance of this goal and how you will determine success on it. And the date completed is automatically set via a Notion automation whenever you set the status to achieved. And the goal page is composed of multiple sections here. You can add additional notes in freestyle journaling here, and you can see the related training programs, because training programs can be related to specific goals or a goal. Now, once this is done, you can move on to the next page in the step-by-step process. That is determining the training frequency, so number of training sessions each week. And here you can open this, and similar to the Coda doc, you have the option to add a few sessions in bulk here, 3 sessions. So if you click this button, it will ask you to continue. And if I continue, this will add 3 sessions with today's date that you can then change according to your needs. For now, I'm going to delete this because I already have some sessions as an example. And so once these sessions are added, I can organize them in the table below as the first draft of them, where I can rename them properly. For example, if I'm following a full body program, I might rename these sessions to full body 1, this one to full body 2, and so on. I can also edit each session date, so I can come here and do a first draft of when I'm going to perform these sessions. So let's say this one was on Monday, this one here, Thursday, and Friday. So that's the first light organization of the system. And once I've decided the frequency and added the training sessions, at least for the first week, I can open the training program creation page to finalize the program creation. There is an option to generate the program with Notion AI if I want here, where I can set the training split. So if it is full body, upper lower, push-pull legs, bro split, or whatever type of training split you intend to follow, and the training frequency, so how many times per week will I train. So I can change these 2 variables here as simple text, and I can then generate the draft plan with Notion AI. And this will be in a text format. You will see here, when I click this button, I have the prompt that is predefined. The variables are mentioned in the prompt, and I can click on generate or change it if needed. And this will generate a text block. If I want to modify anything, I can come here and change the prompt to ask for specific modifications. Otherwise, I can just click out. So that's now the output that I have. It is a first draft. It's a 12-week program. I have weeks 1 to 4 here. I know that there are these sessions, for example. And if I want, I can also generate a list of exercises for each session. Otherwise, for now, I have the split, and I know that I can drag and drop them into the database if I want as training sessions, or move them in bulk into the training session database. For example, by selecting them like this, clicking on the 6 dots here, then move to, and then selecting the sessions database, like so. And this will move them to the training session database, so I can open it, and I will find those sessions right here, which I can then organize with the program. For example, let's say this is the upper lower program. I can set a date for each session here and do anything as needed. Just like before, in the training session organization. So that is one option. The other option is that you create these sessions for the program manually. So on this page, you will find the training programs that you created. Let's delete this one that I just created as a test. And you will also find all the training sessions for the programs, all the reference exercises here. This is a list of exercises together with the primary target, the type, the execution, video tutorial, and any notes that you want to have, and any notes that you want to add. And then you have exercise trackings that is used to track exercises on each session. And this database also uses a complementary automation or workflow that is a pipe dream template that I share as part of this template and that you can easily duplicate. It also works on the pipe dream free account, and I will show how it works after explaining how to craft the training program. So when it comes to the training program here, there are different views as per usual, but in the setup phase, what's most important is that I open the training program, and here I can set the status, the start date, the end date, the type of split. Let's say this is full body, for example. And there is also the ability to set parent and sub programs as part of a periodization program, for example. This might be useful, but for simple usages, that is not really needed. Down here on the program page, I can add additional notes explaining what the program is about or anything worth noting for myself. And then there is the training sessions section of the page where I can add all the training sessions. I already added a few ones from the training sessions setup workflow, and I can also add additional ones. But for each session here, I would open the page and then I can see the date, notes, if it is done. That is not important now. And then inside of that session, there are the exercise trackings that I do. So in here, I can select the exercise from this list. Let's say this is backward first. I can set the sets, reps, rest, tracking, that is post-workout tracking, how much weight or how many reps or how much time, depending on the exercise, it was done. You have notes, the primary target and the execution video are automatically pulled based on the exercise that you select. And you can do so for all the other rows as needed. And you will notice here that there is a property that remains empty, that is name. To resolve this issue, if you like, there is the complementary automation that I mentioned. This is developed in PipeDream. There is a step-by-step guide on how to install this automation or workflow easily. There is a share link as part of the template. The workflow is composed of 3 steps. First, there is a trigger when the Notion page is updated on exercise tracking. Then we retrieve the exercise and we update the name accordingly. So when you open the trigger, you can see that the exercise tracking database is selected here. The property that you want to look for is the exercise property. That is this one that I just selected here. So whenever I select something here, then I want the name to be populated. So let's deploy this so that you can see how it works. It runs every 5 minutes, so it might not be immediate when using the system in Notion. 5 minutes is the minimal frequency time in the free PipeDream plan. If you have a paid plan, you can decrease the frequency even more to have even faster updates. Now I'm going to run it manually to show you what it looks like. So in here, whenever I select an exercise, let's say overhead press, the automation would run and it would add the names of the exercise to the name property. And that's because the name property can't be deleted, because that's the main property that allows us to open the page. So we need to have something there. But for the purpose of this system, it is not very useful because I want to be able to select the exercise from the list of exercises, because then over time I can also track analytics for each exercise and all the weights tracked, how many times I've done it. So that's why this automation can be helpful, to avoid having to copy paste the name every time on the name property, or to keep the name property empty. When it comes to duplicating a session, you can't duplicate it like this, because that would create a bit of a problem on the system, because then each exercise tracking for that session will be linked to multiple sessions, and that is not what we want, because over time, then if one exercise tracking is linked to multiple sessions, when you change the sets, reps or rest or any other data for that tracking page, that will be reflected on all the sessions that it is linked to. So that doesn't allow you to have a historical data of that exercise. So therefore, to duplicate a session, the best way is to just create a new session page, and then what you can do is go on the session that you want to duplicate, and you can just copy all of this at once, Control-C to copy, then navigate to the new session page. The template will be applied automatically. If not, you can select it like that, and right here you can just Control-V to paste everything, and this will create new rows dedicated to that session. on the exercise tracking database, which is what we want. Because then if I change something here, that will be reflected in the week 2 session and not in the week 1 session, which is what we want. Because then over time, we can see analytics about each exercise in this way. Once you are done adding all the sessions, you can now work on the main page that you can also rename if you like, where you can see the current goal that you can open here. You can see today's training session right there, the current program, and this week's sessions ordered by date. You can also use this on mobile. You can open the session page and then primarily use the tracking property here to track the performance on each exercise if you want to do it live. Otherwise, you can do it after the training session at your own time. And this concludes the overview of the Notion template, as well as the Coda template of the 10-step approach to designing a training program. If you have questions, leave them down below in the comments. You will find all the relevant links to these templates in the description of the video. Thank you for watching for now, and see you in the next one.